Welcome everybody. Welcome to Sarat Chandra IAS Academy. We redeem sir our mission. This is Yatharth here. So today we'll be dealing with an important topic of the modern history, that is Viakom Satyagraha. We'll deal with both the aspects for prelims as well as for the mains exam. In the end of this video, we'll have a question related to this event, that is Viakom Satyagraha. Alright, and we'll see what questions can come and what are the important points. Alright, so let's proceed. First of all, we should see that why it's in the news this year and why is it important for this year. Alright, so this year marks 100 years to when this Satyagraha or this temple entry movement started. That means in 1924. Its anniversary was on March 30, 1924, centenary. Alright, so it started 100 years ago from now on March 30, 1924, and it ran for over 600 days. That means around 2 years. Alright, so one of the longest temple entry movements in India, and it was the first among many. Amidst the national movement, it foregrounded the issue of untouchability and caste oppression, and that was very prevalent, especially in the Travancore. Travancore is the state during the 1924 that we are going to talk about. In the modern day, this Viakom is located here in the Kerala, in the southwestern Kerala. Here I have pinpointed the location for you. Alright, it serves us no purpose but only to know that what location we are talking about. Alright, so let's focus on the Vaikom now. That what is this Vaikom? It's a temple town. Alright, it's the name of the town, not the temple itself, in the princely state of the Travancore. Alright, so let us also see where is the princely state of Travancore. So this is the Madras Presidency, this is Cochin or Kochi, and this is the princely state of Travancore. Alright, and we see at this area or region, alright, this Viacom was located. Alright, here we see the Cochin, here we see the Mahe, very small here, in the Madras Presidency. Okay, this green area is completely Madras. Alright. So, it saw the start of a non-violent agitation on March 30, 1924. Alright, so wherever we are hearing this word or seeing this word non-violent, so it means something related to Gandhi. Okay, that means based on the Gandhian principles, the first among temple entry movements that would soon sweep across the country. Alright, the Satyagraha, so this word is very important, the Satyagraha. Okay, it is from two words, made of two words, Satya plus Agraha. So we'll see what does this word mean or what does this philosophy mean. Okay, foregrounded social reforms amidst the growing national movement. So many national movements were also running at that time. Many national movements. So we'll see which national movements were also running parallel to this event, bringing Gandhian methods of protest to the state of Travancore. All right, and this is our third topic now, Gandhian method of protest. So which protest methods can be called or termed as Gandhian method of protest? All right, so let's come to the first word, that is Satyagraha. All right, so it is an agraha of the Satya, and agraha means the insistence. Insist. Insist means a continuous demand, a continuous stern demand. That I insist you do this. All right. And Satya means the truth. So Satyagraha means the holding firmly or demanding or insisting towards the truth continuously. Alright, so that is Satyagraha. So this philosophy originated in the mind of Gandhi, and that is a separate topic, that what was his experiences in the Africa, South Africa, what he brought, what ideas did he bring to the India when he came here in 1915. Alright, so that is a separate topic, but we can say that it is related to Gandhi. Now we come to this chart. It may not be perfect, just an idea, just a representation of what I want to express. So there were two more components to the Satyagraha. One is the non-cooperation and one is the civil disobedience. Alright, Satyagraha has a broad philosophy. What we see here, Satyagraha is a broad philosophy, which says that the truth must prevail. The truth must prevail. Alright, and it insists towards the truth. And now these two components were the two types of the Satyagraha has various activities. Alright, it can be protest, it can be, let's say, hunger strike or something. Alright, there are multiple techniques to the Satyagraha. And we talk about the non cooperation, that means that no to the cooperation. Let's say, refuse your job. Okay, do not purchase the clothes that British are making. Alright, so that is non cooperation. And what is civil disobedience? Civil disobedience means the active disobedience of the civilians. Alright, let's say not paying taxes, not going as per the law, going against the law, in fact. Alright, so this is the broadest philosophy, the Satyagraha, and some of this will overlap generally. Alright, but civil disobedience was different to the non cooperation. Okay, let's move forward and see what were the Gandhian methods to protest. Alright, so the first one is the truth. So, this is the core philosophy of the Gandhis. And his autobiography is also the My Experiments with Truth. Alright, so he believed in various forms of truth, and this was the core principle of Gandhi. So, this is the core principle. So, Gandhi believed in truth as the ultimate force for positive change, and non violence, that means ahimsa. Ahimsa Parmo Dharam was the very way to reveal and uphold this truth. Second thing is ahimsa. This is essential. Satyagraha rejects violence in any form. So the basic core philosophy, Satyagraha rejects violence in any form, both physical as well as verbal. It emphasizes peaceful protest, civil disobedience, and self-sacrifice to achieve goals. All right. Second thing in non-cooperation. So we have already talked about all this. It involves refusing to cooperate with the system deemed unjust. That means whatever system you have formed, we will not be cooperating to that. Okay, the system and we will not operate together. That is non cooperation. So, that could involve things like boycotts, strikes, or refusing to pay taxes. All right, see, the refusing to pay taxes can also come in the civil disobedience. Okay, one is self suffering. That means being willing to endure hardship for the case. So, naturally, if you are not cooperating with the system, then you are going against the system in a way. You are boycotting something. That means you are boycotting the luxuries also. You are doing a strike. That means there will be no production also for you as well as a consumer. Okay, so that means to endure hardships, and these hardships can come as the British resistance also. All right. So by suffering the consequences of non-cooperation peacefully, Satyagrahis aimed to awaken the conscience of their oppressor and gain public sympathy. This public sympathy drove the whole nation. It drove the whole nation, which was not there in 1857. All right. So this was the major or achievement of the Gandhi. So our next view is to see what movements were also going in parallel when this was happening. Actually, in 1924. All right. So the first movement we come to conclude is the non-cooperation movement. That is 1920 and 1922. So this was, we cannot say the peak of the Gandhian era, but this was a very prominent movement of the Gandhi. So it was led by Mahatma Gandhi. This movement advocated for non-violent resistance against the British rule. Okay, this lead to the boycott of the British goods, strikes, and civil disobedience in some sort. It was called off in 1922 due to violence. Okay, violence means it was one of the first experiments that Gandhi did in India. All right, this was the one of the first major nationalist movements that Gandhi did in India, and people may not be very ready for this. Okay, ultimately it erupted into the violence. It significantly impacted the Indian independence movement that time. Okay, you can read about the Chori Chora case also. All right. And next, we come to the Khilafat movement. All right. So this was a movement supported by the Indian Muslims. Okay, and this came in the backdrop of the World War One, the end of the World War One. Okay, so aimed to protect the Ottoman Empire or Ottoman the Caliphate, the religious head of Islam, from the dismantling by British and French forces after World War One. It overlapped with the non-cooperation movement, and this is why this actually amplified. All right, both the non-cooperation movement and Khilafat movement were aligned to each other in some way, and highlighted Hindu-Muslim unity in the nationalist struggle. Okay, because at this time Muslims were naturally against the British. So it displayed as a Hindu-Muslim unity. All right. Now let's move to the early 20th century Travancore. So the princely state of Travancore, I already shown you in the map. Okay. It was a feudal. So which sort of feudalism was going on back then? And in this area, especially the South India or Southern India, which type of land settlement plans were being acted? So this is for us to know. Militaristic and a ruthless system of custom-ridden government. All right. The idea of caste pollution. So this caste pollution is a basic idea from you can read in anthropology. All right. What is caste and what is caste pollution? And basically, what is the difference between pure and impure? Okay, what is taboo? So these things you can read in anthropology, but basically it's about the pollution that is caused by the lower castes. Worked only not in the basis of touch, but also sight. That means if society or the caste, the higher caste, let's say, classify something as pure, all right, it must not see or the impure, that is, let's say, lower caste people here, must not be seen or must not be touched to it. All right. So lower caste were forbidden entry to any pure place. Pure place can be a temple and the road surrounding them or the vicinity of a temple. All right, because they are polluting to the pure structure. The second half of the 19th century saw several social and political developments ushering in unprecedented social change. Ushering means to bring to light. All right. So you can use these words in your answer to make it look ornamental. So first, the Christian missionaries, they converted, this is also known as the evangelism. Okay. And when we read about the 1857 war, this topic also comes up. So it converted large section of the lower caste people into Christianity. All right, because they did not want or could not find their place in the Hindu style of caste system. Secondly, the reign of the Maharaja ILM Thirunal Ramavarma, that is what between 1860 and 1880, saw many progressive reforms, such as the universal free primary education, including for the lower castes. So this we can even state in the answer when we are talking about the right to education, all at Article 21A. While religious and custom remained pervasive, the absolute material and intellectual deprivation of lower caste did not continue. All right. So the Azhavas, these Azhavas and some few influential caste, while being the lower caste, let's say Nair, okay, and the Azhavas, they originated in the Kerala, come from Kerala, and they emerged as the most educated as well as organized, untouchable community in the princely state of Travancore during this time. Okay, you can see in the picture here the picture of the Maharaja Ayalam Thiruvar Ramavarma, and in the lower section you can see the picture of an Azava family. Now here I am displaying you an image of the caste division in the this modern historical Kerala. So these were the Savarna caste. The uppermost were the Brahmins, then the Raja, and so on. All right, and the Nayars. The Madhya caste were the Vishwakarma or the laborers, skilled artisans. Okay, these were the priests and scholars, kings, the temple employees, and the warriors. Basically, Nayar were warriors. Okay, this also is aligned to how we define in the North Indian system, we can say the Brahmin, the Kshatriya, all right, the Vaishya, and the Shudra. Furthermore, when we go down to the Avarna caste means these castes do not have a Varna. And that means their job is not defined. Their occupational skills are not defined. They are out of the Varna system. So, which were these castes? The Azava, the Mukkava, the Pulaya, and the Nayadi. Now, we must also see that this also tells about their population, but also a hierarchy in their own caste system. These castes did not live together at all. All right, they also had a similar hierarchy. And in these, the Azhava came up as the most influential castes. They were mostly the Tory trappers. Furthermore, the fishermen, agricultural slaves, and the tribal hunters or the Adivasis. All right, these are the ones which are now classified as the ST or scheduled tribes in Kerala. Okay, let's see. The government jobs were still reserved for the upper caste only. In 1918, we see that the upper caste Hindus, a numerical minority in the Kerala, held 3,800 out of the 4,000 jobs in the state. All right, that's more than 90%. Revenue department. This means that education itself did not act as a means of socio-economic advancement. So we saw that education was made compulsory for all, even for the lower castes, but it did not mean the socio-economic advancement because of the reservation system. Okay. Also, while as small as a violate had started to emerge, in many cases, the ritual discrimination over our material and educational process. So, despite them being educated and, let's say, scholarly, they were still ritually discriminated against. Now we see the initiation of the movement, that is the Vaikom Satyagraha initiation. So this matter was put up by a leader known as the T.K. Madhavan. He was an Azhawa leader. All right, in his 1917 editorial, and this was his paper, the Deshabhimani. He himself is also known as the Deshabhimani T.K. Madhavan, inspired by the success of Gandhi's non-cooperation movement. So even you can write about this movement when we talk about the success of the non-cooperation movement. By 1920, he began to advocate for more direct methods. That year, he himself went beyond the restrictive notice board on road near the Vaikom temple. I'll show you a picture of the Vaikom temple as well. Now, furthermore, it was the entry of the INC. It was formed in 1885 into the picture that changed the dynamics of this movement. So Madhavan met Gandhi in 1921 and secured the Mahatma's support, Gandhi's support for mass agitation. That means Gandhi saw it as a good opportunity to promote the Satyagraha philosophy. All right, in the 1923 session of the INC in Kakinada, a resolution was passed in the Kerala Provincial Congress Committee to take up this anti-untouchability as a key issue. All right. Furthermore, this was followed by a massive public message campaigning and movement to open Hindu temples and all public roads to Avarnas. Vaikom. So Vaikom was selected because of its revered Shiva temple. There was a big Shiva temple, and it was chosen as the location for the very first Satyagraha. So it is not specifically about the Vaikom temple. Alright, Vaikom is a whole town in which these movement first took place. Alright, this is the Shiva temple where the movement first took place. This is a picture of Gandhi from that movement. Furthermore, we see the original movement, that is the Viakom Satyagraha. So T.K. Madhavan and other leaders took the strategic decision to initially focus on opening up the four roads around the temple, not the temple itself directly. Alright, only the four roads around which. So I'll show you the picture as well. So early morning in March 30, 1924, a Nair, Anazawa and Pulayu, all the Avarnas. Okay, so they went and attempted to use the roads, but they were stopped and arrested, and this went on for multiple attempts. Okay, so this kept on happening. Many arrests were done. You can read the PDF for more. So this went on every day until the police stopped making arrest and just erected some barricades. All right, you can see the main temple here, the premises here. We read this all in the Dravid style of the temple making. There's a Gopuram. All right, there's an entry hall. There is a multiple things that we have already read in the architecture. So there are four roads here. All right, these roads were barricaded outside of the premises of these roads. All right, so these were barricaded eventually. Now, from then through September, so the same year, from March till September, protesters sent in front of the barricades fasting and singing patriotic songs. Okay, so leaders such as the Periyar, E.V. Periyar, Ramaswamy Periyar, and arrested multiple times. And C. Rajgopalachari, very important leader, came to Viacom for offer support and lead the protesters. All right. At the same time, counter agitations raged on, and the Satyagrahis often faced violence and intimidation from the caste Hindus. In August the same year, 1994, Maharaja of Travancore died, following which the young Maharani regent, Queen Shetu Lakshmi Bai, released all prisoners. But when a large group of protesters marched to the royal palace, she refused to allow all caste access to temples. So she also refused. All right. Even after the death of Maharaja, they were refused the entry to the temples. So this is a picture of the C. Rajgopalachari. Okay, C.R. Rajgopalachari. And here we see the Periyar. So Periyar, E.V. Ramaswamy Periyar, you can read about him. I've included this in the PDF. And C. Rajgopalachari also, I've included this in the PDF. He was the first Governor General of independent India, please remember. Okay, he was alive till 1972. Furthermore, what we see in the same year, 1925, sorry, the next year in March 1925, Gandhi was finally able to iron out a compromise. So, what was the compromise? That means they never fully succeeded in their adventure or endeavor. So, three out of the four roads surrounding the temple were opened up for everybody. Everybody means specifically to the Avarnas. But the fourth or the eastern road was kept reserved for the Brahmins only. This was finally implemented in the November 1925. That means next year in 1925, when the government completed divisionary roads that could be used by the lower caste. So it was still a discrimination. The victory was never complete without polluting the temple. So last Satyagraha was recalled from Vaikom on November 23, 1925, because we can say this Satyagraha was stretched too far. All right, and it did not achieve a complete victory. So this can be a caution in the means. Let's talk about the legacy and the aftermath. So, Vaikom Satyagraha was a remarkable movement which sustained itself for over 600 days amidst hostile social forces, police crackdowns, and one of the worst floods in the town history in 1924. The Satyagraha also show previously unseen unity across caste lines, which was crucial for its continuing mobilization. But the final compromise disappointed many, especially Periyar, who had envisioned a far more spectacular outcome. So he fell apart from Gandhi on this issue. All right. So finally, what happened in 1936, that means 11 years later, the Maharaja of Travancore signed the historic temple entry proclamation, which removed the age-old ban on the entry of marginalized caste into the temples of the state. That means entry was open for all after a struggle of 11 years. This, along with the demonstration of Gandhian methods of civil disobedience as effective tool of protest, was a great success of the Vaikom Satyagraha. All right. Finally, what we see, despite its shortcoming, this is the conclusion of our lecture, we can say. The Vaikom Satyagraha brought untouchability, unapproachability, and unseeability to the forefront of political issues in India. Now the question comes to the men's, that was Vaikom Satyagraha a complete victory? Examine. All right, put your arguments. So arguments for victory are included here, which was the partial lifting of restrictions. All right, 3 out of 4 roads were opened. So this was some success, if not complete. All right, social awareness. So this was there. All right, all of the lower caste were unified because of this, and there was a social awareness that bring to the political forefront these issues, that there is untouchability, there is unsayability, and there is unapproachability. In our own country, there are areas where we cannot go. All right. So third thing is the inspiration for further action. So because of how long this movement was, it kept inspiring multiple different movements parallelly. And what we see, arguments against a complete victory, that means limited scope. So Satyagraha only addressed to specific roads, not complete social equality. Just this 10 years long struggle was about 3 roads. Okay, we can see say that. Second thing is short-lived gains. So restriction on lower caste access to the temple re-emerged, highlighting the continued struggle for a social change. And lastly, we see that internal debates. So in the political sections or the political galleries also, it was debated that is it worth it? Is the input worth it just for the 3 roads to be open to lower caste people? Is an 11-year-long struggle worth it? All right. So some nationalists felt that focusing this social reform distracted from the fight for independence of the country, which was the major issue that time. Lastly, we see the conclusion that Viakom Satyagraha wasn't a complete victory in the sense of achieving full social equality. However, it was a significant step forward, raising awareness, inspiring further action, and demonstrating the power of non-violent resistance, the core philosophy of Satyagraha against the social injustice. So this is our lecture for today. I hope you enjoyed it and gained knowledge from this. This is Yatharth here signing off. I'll see you the next day. Thank you very much. Have a great day.